got to get the power play going on the road. They got to kill on the road. And Skinner, it took one game now for people to look at Stuart Skinner and say, what's going on? Is this a must-win, considering what we saw against L.A., where they lost the first 2 on the road? How does that jive with what needs to happen tonight for Edmonton?
I don't think it's a must-win. Of course, going down 2-0 against Dallas is not ideal, but I think Edmonton has shown themselves, even in these playoffs, as you just mentioned, capable of coming down back from that deficit. Edmonton's a good team. I think, Noodles, you tell me. I watched the highlights, and yes, the penalty kill's not been good, which is not a good sign in the playoffs. But Stu Skinner, he never looked happy after those goals went in. He was always looking for a call or a goal interference or something. But he didn't look great. They got to get decent goaltending. Doesn't have to be great, but Edmonton with decent goaltending, I think that team is good enough to go to the Stanley Cup final again. But I think it's on Skinner, and one more game like that. Is Pickard backing up yet? Because if Pickard's available, they will not hesitate after one more.
Not. He's not available yet. They're not sure he's.
So they're riding it. No, so that's it. They're riding Skinner till it's over. But Noodles, you tell me. Skinner seemed very vulnerable in that game 1.
Noodles.
To be honest, I thought he was awful. I thought he was awful in that game. Go back to the Tyler Seguin breakaway. Okay, yes, it's a breakaway, but watch what he does. He falls, he ends up on his ass. Seguin just shot it around him. It was like a delayed reaction.
Noodles, that's that shot
motion.
I talked to you about. A lot of shots, guys are shooting low glove now, because you talked about the positioning. The goalie's glove is up like that. I've never seen, especially righties or lefties, shoot low glove. I'm seeing a lot of pucks go low glove.
Yes, it's a great point, And the other thing is Skinner, they exposed his movement. They exposed his movement side to side. They got him moving, and listen, I'm not going to lay that loss at his feet, but he could have been better. Put it that way, a lot better.
He could have been the reason they won, though, Noodles. And the other part of it, you say his movement, and it seems like there's 2 different things for goaltenders. And I'm not a goalie guru like you, Noodles, but there's guys who are not great movers, and that's one thing. They're just not as quick or maybe not as explosive. But then there are guys who are clumsy movers, like James Reimer, respectfully. He's a bit of a clumsy mover in net. Roberto Luongo, your boy at times, he looks a little clumsy in net. And you watch Stuart Skinner, he looks clumsy at times when he's moving around, where he doesn't, he kind of tips over or falls awkwardly, off balance. And, he wasn't the reason they lost, but he could have easily been the reason they won, especially given where they were after 2 periods.
Johnny, we had Keith Pelly had a presser today, and I just wanted to ask you, the decisions moving forward, big ones, who do you think is going to pound their fist down on the table and say this is the way it's going to happen? Is it obviously Brad Treliving, it starts and stops there?
I think it's Brad Treliving, yes. And it starts and stops there, except I have no idea. I watched a bit of that presser over here live, and this is just guessing, not any sort of knowledge. There might be the occasional veto power available from Pelly or the board or someone very, higher. I guess Pelly would be the guy if he said, if Brad Treliving came and said, we want to trade Austin Matthews, let's say, and it's the thing we're going to do, I could see occasionally on a really big thing that might be up for discussion and not completely end with Treliving. But I think for the most part, day-to-day hockey team management, roster construction, cap issues, contracts, that'll all be Tree and his group that will take care of that going forward.
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, it's a weird kind of vibe here. I know you've been overseas for a couple of weeks, but you can imagine. I mean, with the way they went out in Game 7 and then the Shanahan news hanging over them, there's already a million reports about Marner and Tavares and what's going to happen on those fronts. I was saying earlier, Johnny, it finally does actually feel different. Now, that can change quickly if they re-sign Marner and Tavares. It won't feel different at all. But, Shanahan not being here, even though he's been kind of pokeroo the last 5 years, he's not been around, he never talks, you kind of understood he was still, the guy that was running the show. It was still his operation. And if Marner does leave, I mean, that's outside of Matthews leaving, that's as tangible as it can get in terms of that change. Yet now you're dealing with a fork in the road, because if the era has come to an end, and yes, there was not enough success, nowhere close to it, hopefully it gets better. That's the plan, but it could get worse. It could go the opposite way. And we may look back at this in a year or 2 or 3 and say, you know what, that was actually the end of an era, and now it's worse. Like now they're reverting backwards. And that's going to be very difficult for them to make sure they stay where they are, but even more so to get to that next level, because, you know, I'm not sure they have the answers on how to do that right now.
Totally fair. Totally. I mean, they've been really good for a long time. And yes, the playoffs are another conversation we've had ad nauseum. But the idea that, you know, if Marner leaves and Tavares doesn't come back, you know, are they going to be would you say for sure, no matter what they do, they're going to be a 105-point team again? I don't know. I don't know what they become. You know, who do they spend the money on? How do they build their team going forward? Do they save money for the 2026 crop of free agents? Like, there's a lot of questions out there, and it may be one step back to hopefully take several steps forward. But that will be the intention, but that will not be the guarantee. It's not easy. I always put it in golfer terms, right? It's a lot easier to go from a 20 handicap to a 7 than a 7 to a 3. Like, the early steps that the Leafs have taken are more doable, and they did them well. It's the final steps that are hardest to figure out, and they're going to try to figure it out again. But there's no guarantee, despite their best intentions, the same best intentions that have been going on here for a decade, that the team will be better in the regular season, that the team will be more successful in the postseason. You know, you have smart people running it. They're going to try, Hayes, but I don't know with any sort of guarantee if Marner leaves, if they're going to be better next year. I just don't know.
Yeah, we don't have the answer to that. I mean, I think we're fairly certain Matthews, Nylander, Knies will be back up front. Obviously, a bunch of other players. You know, you're not going to turn over everybody. There are going to be guys that return. And then, like we said earlier, like the 6 defensemen that played every night in the playoffs, they're all on term. They're all on term.
Mm-hmm.
They're all locked in, and the 2 goalies are locked in. So you have a
What about Morgan Riley, Hayes? What about Morgan Riley?
That's the one that sticks out to me, Johnny, is where does he come into play? Because I don't...
It's simple, Brian.